something better for us. It was plenty of confusion. I've never justified that. Well, I just say we shouldn't kill everybody.
I 2 weeks ago to one of your videos, Pyro, where you did make the argument, okay, that you did actually use the words genetic, heritage kind of thingy, my genetic blah blah blah, or something like that. So you have used that kind of rhetoric in your videos.
Okay, it's true. I have, and I made that justification to you. But I did not have my kids because I thought, oh, the world's perfect, I'll do it. No, I was totally fucking confused. It was a bunch of a learning experience. I love them now that they're here. I don't think it's your place to kill them, and that's my position.
Thank you for that anyway. Thank you for that. At least clarifying and being honest, okay? Because I appreciate that. I can appreciate that. All right, because there was a conflict there that I was really uncomfortable with because it didn't seem to make any fucking sense. I'll be taking out my own nieces. I'll be taking out a lot of things I love. My cat, a lot of different things I care about too. I'll be taking out beauty, all the images, all the art, all the everything else that humans have accomplished, okay? But I'm still going to say the logical imperative exists. It's sitting there looking me right in the face and saying there's no other way. There's no other answer to this problem. If you had the opportunity, you'd have to jump on it. Because you'd only have that one fucking chance to stop this, and it won't stop unless somebody stops it.
Well, I think we can see how insidious such an idea is if we just have an example like, say, terrorism, right? It's very difficult to pick off every single terrorist one by one. It's, I would say, almost futile, right? So then you could say, oh, why don't we just nuke the whole Middle East, or all these? Oh, we don't know exactly where Bin Laden is, so why don't we just nuke all of Pakistan? It's essentially what you're kind of saying.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, whatever. You want to make a stupid analogy, make a stupid analogy. The point is I'm causing a sterilization, okay, because they won't do it voluntarily. I'm forcing it upon them so they can no longer play Frankenstein. Yes. And sometimes it just takes a bullet. You shoot Frankenstein, Frankenstein's dead, it's over. Okay, then there's no Frankenstein monster, there's no Dracula, they don't have to make a movie, they don't have to do a whole thing, blah, 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 blah. So it's just bullshit to say there's no solution to a problem. Sometimes violence is a solution. It's the final solution.
I just think it could be a little more targeted, that's all.
Again, there's no way to target it, okay? I've pointed out it's built into the DNA molecule. Consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, fucking goddamn addiction. It's what
that part's not in contention.
It's made out of. If you got some other fucking ingredient, let's hear it.
No, because that's not the point in contention here. We don't disagree that we're just these it's consumption and reproduction. I mean, so what? You can
so
say
what? That's what causes the suffering, you dumbass. That's what causes the doing. That's what causes the risk-taking. That's what causes the sloppiness. That's what causes the shortcuts. That's what causes the laziness. That's what causes the violence. That's what causes the competition, the wasteful, stupid competition. That's what causes all of the negatives.
Then that means...
we'd have rational suicide, we'd have rational death policy if it wasn't for this obsession, this competitive obsession, this incessant need to accomplish. Go ahead.
Well, if that was the case, then you are a consuming and reproducing machine, and I assume that you don't think you're causing suffering, and that you're not a problem, or do you think you are?
Well, of course I do. When did I exclude myself from being a cockroach like the rest of the fucking cockroaches? What, did I say I'm going to blow up the universe so I can stay around because I'm okay? I'm okay, so let's keep me and I'll just kill all of you. Did I make that argument, moron? No, I didn't.
No. I'm asking you what suffering you think you're causing because you're a consuming and reproducing machine.
You can't exist on this planet. Every fucking move I make, there's just no way. I mean, I'm probably going to kill a spider today, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. And I'll change something else's destiny in some fucking way that's not going to be pleasant for it. Alright, and that's just the way it is. I'm a human being consuming resources. I'll consume because I'm an American. Look, I got my lights on. I got that light on and that light on over there. I'm killing people in Africa right now by having these fucking lights on. That's $2 fucking. That could buy a human life in Africa today. Well, it's not $2. That's an exaggeration.
All right, so
you get my fucking drift. Just having this
that.
fucking computer on, just being in this fucking Stickam room. How many people could we save if we all turned our computers off tonight for the 8 hours we're in this room? Okay, so if this 100 people turn their computers off, okay, for 8 hours instead of being in this Stickam room and send that money to Africa, the fact is that 10 people could live 10 days. That they wouldn't be able to live without that money.
So that's...
Okay, so you're saying that if right now you died, that would somehow alleviate suffering, net suffering in the world?
Well, it probably would as a practical matter because I live in the West in this gluttonous pigs culture that completely waste resources. So yeah, the fewer people living in this country, the more people will live in the rest of the world. Yeah, that's a practical truth. The carrying capacity of the world is increased more by killing people here than killing people there. You kill an African, you don't make the earth carry any more people. You kill an American, you will. Because we consume and we waste 70 times more resources.
Well, I was just referring to you specifically.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm talking about me specifically as a typical. I'm not even typical because my carbon footprint is much lower. But who cares? Again, what does this have to do with anything?
No, the reason it's relevant. The reason it's relevant is because you just made the statement that because we're consuming and reproducing machines, that is the reason that there's so much suffering. And I was just trying to use you as an example for why that's not necessarily the case.
The case though again, so it's just no point. I'm going to chase women and I'm going to do it selfishly and I'm probably going to take advantage where I can and this and that and I might risk somebody else's welfare or their health, or I might get drunk and drive. I might do a lot of things that'll put people at jeopardy. And the fact is, yeah, as long as I don't reproduce though, I'm a minor problem. My problem ends with me. The problem is that's not what the human race does, and we're talking about the net effect. And so the net human being is producing 1.5 children, or whatever the number will be, 2. No, the average human individual is producing 2 or whatever, 1.15 children. So yeah, they're producing. So they keep producing more. That's the liability. They keep extending the risk game. They keep rolling these dice again in a game where you can't win. Okay, there's you roll the dice and you either don't lose anything or you lose something. It's a stupid fucking game, and only a moron would play it. Only a heroin addict would be a heroin addict. Okay, a rational person would not choose that life, and a rational intelligence would not choose to play this idiotic, stupid, crappy, shitty game. Only an addict would.
I just don't see it as addiction, that's all. I mean, I just see it as a fact. That's the way we are, but it's not it's not an addiction in a negative way like you seem to be framing it. It's just kind of strange.
Whatever. You can say it's not, but it is. It is what it is. It's the biology. It's the DNA molecule owning your fucking psychology. And you've got to come to grips with that reality. You can pretend it's not the reality, but that's the mechanism of the machine. That's the mechanism of how we've got here. That's how we became the survival monsters that we are. Is merely because we've survived for 2 billion years. All of our ancestors are survivors. Every fucking one of them survived. They survived the dinosaurs. They survived all of it. Every fucking bit of it. They survived cholera. They survived the plague. They survived all of it.
your side of this argument, like to say that, like, I've heard this. This has been thrown at me several times. Have you ever had third-degree burns over 75% of your body? You know what? Or are you a cancerous child? Hey, I'll tell you one thing. A child that has cancer all their childhood and then manages to make it through and survives is not saying, let's nuke the fucking world, it's so terrible. They're saying, thank God I survived.
That's like asking a retard. What does retard think of chocolate chip cookie? I like chocolate chip cookie.
No, it's liking a heroin addict
No, it's a retard. It's a retarded opinion. I'm not gonna argue people's convoluted, perverse, bizarre opinions. There's people who like to lick other people's asses and suck the shit out of them.
You care about the suffering.
It is completely irrelevant to me what their opinion is, Pyro. Again, I rely on my logic until somebody challenges the logic. Okay.
But how dare you give importance to their suffering?
Opinion polls, Pyro, to find out what life means. If I ask the public whether God exists, they're going to say he does.
I didn't say the public. I said somebody that's gone through suffering.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's like asking a retard. They have no context or understanding. They are addicts. Again, why would I ask a heroin addict to tell me what value heroin has? That was purposely stupid. So again, somebody who has been trained to say, no, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. They've been psychologically brainwashed. You goddamn know it. You also goddamn know, I think, that it would be just as easy to create a 6-year-old kid or a 7-year-old or a 10-year-old kid that would be just fine with dying, would be perfectly comfortable, would say, yeah, okay, I have a fatal terminal disease, I'm going to gracefully exit, blah, blah, blah. You could make them perfectly comfortable with that decision, perfectly comfortable with not chasing, not forcing themselves to live, not going through chemotherapy, not doing any of that shit, and you can make them just as comfortable with that psychological position. Alright, and so let's not talk about what fucking Teletubbies think, or what, Big Bird, let's not ask Big Bird what his opinion on human society is. Okay, irrelevant. Let's argue the logical position. The logical position is a DNA molecule owns your psychology. Explain to me why that's not true.
Okay, that's fair enough point, but the issue is we're not just asking for their opinion. It's like, why would you ask a heroin addict anything? Well, if the heroin addict is somebody that actually did manage to get off heroin and you're curious how they got off of their addiction, you might ask them for that. If you're worried about the suffering and somebody managed to alleviate their suffering, you might ask them about that, because they're not addicts anymore. They're out of the game. You're the addict.
It's not fucking relevant. It's just, you're just playing a game. If I asked my sister who died of cancer, okay, 2.5 years, into her death, before she, 6 months before she died, if I asked her certain questions, she would say, yes, I'm going to get cured, God's going to cure me, God's going to do this, God's going to blah, 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 blah. I asked her 3 months before she died, she'd be answering, God's forsaken me, I must have sinned, I've done something horribly wrong, blah, blah. So it's a completely different answers, because 3 months more has transpired and she's gone through a certain more level of horror and pain, and so she's drawn a new conclusion based on that new level of suffering that she has endured, and so now she's changed her opinion. So what the hell does that mean? It doesn't mean a damn thing, because the whole thing is based on a false premise. Okay, so there's no point in making arguments like that. Argue the logic, not other people's opinions.
Well, I think we did argue the logic. It's just we haven't granted you that premise about the zero-sum game.
Ask her to grant me that premise. I just made the argument to you that there's no point in coming to me with something else until you describe the something else. I've said these are the ingredients: consumption, reproduction, cannibalism, and addiction. I said you offer me what the other ingredient is. What's the fifth ingredient that makes it worth it? Those are 4 bad ingredients. So you explain to me the good ingredient.
But again, that's not the point in contention. Even if I grant you that we're just, I mean, yeah, that we are consuming and reproducing machines, that's not the problem. The problem is suffering.
Yes,
the problem
the addiction word is the important one, okay? Again, I'm saying that all your perception of positive value is merely a consequence of your fucking desire, of the fact that you have been built with a contrived, mechanically